This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You don't want to see Southern Ash lose in the first round as an undefeated 1 seed?
No, I don't think they're going to lose in the first round. Second round, we'll see.
That's what I was like when I was looking, because I kind of forgot that the playoffs were starting this week. And then you posted about it, and I was like, oh, I should go check out the brackets. And the first thing I saw was Rose was playing Conley in the first round. I was like, what the fuck?
And seriously, then you start looking at, literally, they put the top bracket of the 3A in week 2 could be Southern versus Northern and Rocky Mountain versus Pike.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Part I get, because I guess that's what happens when a third of that bracket is made up of teams from the Big East.
I guess we're doing pods again. I don't know. I don't keep up with it enough to care anymore.
I don't know.
But, you could have at least, sent one of them into the bottom half of the bracket, or maybe 2, 5 Big East teams got in.
Yeah.
So, Hunt's in the bottom of the bracket, but shit, you could have sent a second team down there.
We're gonna take this real quick. Let's see. Let's go Big Green. Go Big Green, the favorite site of the all new sports show.
I don't know how much they've actually updated this year.
That's literally the only way I've been, besides the all new sports show score updates, that's literally the only way I've been keeping up with standings.
There's always sports show score updates. They're crazy. They're really fun when I forget them. It's like 3 hours later. I'm like, shit, I didn't post these.
I like when I look through my feed when I wake up on a Saturday morning, I see 3 a.m. score lines pop up. I'm like,
Yeah, so those are the nighttime at work. I'm like, shit, I didn't do any scores enough.
So that's what happens is, because there's 16 teams in the East and 5 of them are from the Big East. And you're like, still, I guess, I don't know. I don't know what they could have done there. Maybe, I'm shocked 5 teams made it from the Big East. That's what's surprising.
Well, Rocky Mountain, Northern, Southern were obvious, should have made it.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Pike finished 4th, but we're 4-7.
Yeah.
Hunt finished 5th, but had 5 wins. Hunt was really good in non-conference. And then they got a conference and only beat Franklin.
Franklinton. Oh.
Yeah. So, it was weird, man.
I did see in the 1A bracket, though, the last team to make it in that Eastern Regional, the 12th seed, it's the Kippers.
The Kippers. Oh, I like the Kippers.
Solid.
The Kippers, North Edgecombe lost, I think, 2 games this year. They lost, of course, Tarboro and Southwest.
Of course.
I think other than that, their closest game of the year was actually with the Kippers. And I mean, they won by like 20 something.
It does say they had a third loss. I'm sure
Maybe
it was
they
like.
did.
I'm sure it
was very early. I can't remember who it was.
I want to say it was Washington. Do you know what conference they're in?
Tar River.
Let's see. Roanoke. Yeah, close enough.
Roanoke, yeah.
St. Paul's. St. Paul's, first game of the year.
That's right. They played a weird one with St. Paul's. Yeah. So, I mean, so they were like 0-3 or 1-3 and then just steamrolled everybody else.
Yeah, their closest game was Kip Pride. Northampton was kind of close. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, hell, you never know. Shit, they could definitely go on a run and get there in small 1A.
Hey.
You know,
With that,
I think everybody assumes we're just barreling toward a Tarboro East Surrey rematch in the 1AA state title game.
I mean, because the only other one was Edenton Holmes. They're also undefeated. They're the 2 seed in the East. I don't know how good they are.
The thing about Edenton, they gotta go through Tarboro and they gotta go to Tarboro. So.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, I don't put anybody to beat Tarboro, man.
When is Tarboro gonna lose again?
I don't think it's going to be this year. And I'll say this. I mean, you look at Tarboro, and you can say, oh, they're steamrolled a bunch of 1A teams. Yeah, but they also steamrolled the 8 seed in the 3A. They beat pretty good the number 2 team in the 2A East Regional. I mean, they beat Washington, who got a pretty good seed. I mean, steamrolled just about everybody they play, man. Hey, beat the number 5 seed in the 3A East bracket. Beat Rocky Mount. Shit. Tarboro's got wins over Rocky Mount, Northern, and Southwest, and Washington right off the top of my head. So, I mean, their non-conference was legit.
Yeah.
That Northern, it's Northern. Yeah, Northern was pretty freaking good this year, man. So... I mean, Tarboro's Tarboro, man. And now, the thing is, once you get to the Eastern Finals or the state finals, anything can happen at that point.
Oh, sure.
But, I mean, if Tarboro just goes up in Tarboro, nobody's going to beat Tarboro.
Yeah. You could say Tarboro is the Liverpool of the thing. They are 6-time state champions. That's not true. That
is true, actually.
Is it actually?
Is it 6 or 7?
What bracket are they in? Quickly, what or not bracket?
1AA?
No. What's their conference?
Oh God.
Coastal. All right, Coastal Plains.
That's gonna be it.
All right, Coastal Plains. How many state titles have the Tarboro Vikings won according?
It's either 6 or 7.
To this,
or maybe 8.
According to this website, let's see. Let's scroll down.
Craddock's won
6 state champions.
So Craddock's won 5.
Yeah.
Okay, and Brett or Weinstein must have won the other one in 84 or something.
Yeah, it was 84.
And then, so they didn't win another one until Craddock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 6. Yeah.
The closest one they had was 98 when they finished second.
Yeah, we beat that ass that year too. Wes Bradshaw led Rocky Mount Griffons. We beat that ass. We beat them 22-21, but
Well done.
Yeah, they were 3A though at that time, so they were much more big and legit.
Jesus. They haven't lost for 41 straight games.
Yeah, and they're not going to. You want to make another comparison? You got Jurgen Klopp, you got Jeff Craddock, JK, and JC.
Hey.
But if you want to spell Klopp as JC, I mean, a lot of Liverpool people consider Klopp to be Jesus, so that's cool.
There you go. And I would say, as far as I know, if it was an arm wrestling match, I think I'd favor Craddock. But
yeah, Craddock's a monster.
I mean, that's a lot of people would also lose to Jeff Craddock, so that's not saying a whole lot.
Jeff Craddock is a lean, freaking beast of a man.
Jesus, yes.
You think about it, man. I mean, you really think about it. You have two managers
yes,
who are just seen as iconic and completely beloved by their fan bases. It's a gorgeous setup. Tarboro, the Liverpool Tarboros.
And when they have early playoff rounds, sometimes the fans don't really show up. It happens.
A subdued Anfield.
A subdued Viking Stadium.
Subdued Viking Stadium. That's more Iraqi thing. So we don't give a shit till the third round, but if you lose before then, you suck.
Oh, this has been an amazing preamble to episode 288 of the Affordable Fair Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am Edward Green, joined as always by my Colin Crime, Wes Bradshaw. Big week to talk about here, as it's our final week of talking about the Premier League for the 2019-2020 season. The season is over. It's done. We had our final match this weekend, so everybody, you can just go home.
You shut your hole, young man.
Take the rest of the year off. Give everybody just go to the Champions League. We'll just do that. Everybody else, season's over. We'll get to that in a little bit in the Premier League review. Also, we won't really talk about it too much. We'll save it for next week. But hey, final week of Euro qualifiers are this week, and that is actually a big deal. Teams still trying to get qualified. So that will be taking place over the course of this next week as we head into an international break. Also, of course, be hitting the news and notes. We'll be doing the Watch 4 and maybe even So Elite Raw that Wes is going to have to carry this week because I don't have my Dio Madden corner thing.
Great. Super.
We'll see. Maybe we'll just have an extended Watch 4 or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, as always, the podcast is presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. As well as Alicia's Pills and Things. Hey, listen. If you're a person out there who maybe listens to this podcast and you're thinking, you know what? I'm thinking about building a mansion in Germany. And I'm going to need to furnish it just like my giant ass apartment in Manchester. If I was that person who definitely listens to this podcast, I would say, hey, I should contact Alicia's Pillows and Things on Facebook. She can get me the hookup of that amazing Champions League trophy body pillow that I will be able to cuddle every night in my new home in Germany until I win the real thing, which could be never, as I grab onto my turtleneck a little bit and polish my head. So please check out Alicia's Pillows and Things. I don't know where this is.
Ed, do you think that she can make 6 of them?
Maybe that can go into another house.
For the 6-time champions of Europe.
That can go down the road to Merseyside. Check it out at Alicia's Pills and Things. I'm so sorry, Pep. I did not plan this total demolition of you, but hey, I guess neither did you on the weekend. Alicia's Pills two times. Alicia's Pills and Things has a great set of sports theme and cartoon theme pillows, as well as ottomans and slip covers and whatnot. Go to Alicia's Pills and Things on Facebook. Check out all her great stuff and get the hookup there. Again, that is Alicia's Pillows and Things. I'm sorry, Pep.
You did this twice! Twice!
I don't know where it
2 times you've done this now!
I was like, what's the sad thing that happened this week? Because we like to talk about people...
Very good job, Edward. Very good.
Curling their body pillows. And I'm like, oh, right.
Very good.
Oh, the athletic.
Pep approves.
Man, that athletic story about him building the mansion and City trying to build in the mansion out of converted apartments. And it's great. It's great. We'll pimp the athletic more later, don't you worry. The rest of the week that was in the Premier League. Watford, they're on the board, ladies and gentlemen. Gerard Deulofeu made sure of it. He got it started in the second minute, and they beat Norwich on the road 2-0. Big win for the Hornets. Good job for them. I still don't understand why they're Hornets when their logo looks like a moose head. But anyway, what's important is Watford get their first win of the season. Norwich do take a tumble as they are now mired deep within the relegation zone. Elsewhere, on Saturday, Chelsea was able to beat Palace also 2-0. Palace starting to come back down to earth a little bit as we're seeing that schedule we thought was going to get kind of tougher for them, it's starting to take its toll on them a little bit.
Flying back to Earth.
They're sinking like an eagle that's actually holding a crystal. They're plummeting back to Earth. Oh, sorry, social dogs.
Their wings have been clipped.
Newcastle beats Bournemouth 2-1. DeAndre Edlin, American power. 42nd minute goal. He gets the equalizer for Newcastle. And then in the 52nd minute, Newcastle wins it through Ciaran Clark as they hold off Bournemouth advances through the rest of the second half. Big win for
DeAndre Edlin's like, damn it, I'm supposed to be the good American, and I got to start scoring goals.
Yeah, exactly. That's very important. Everton beats Southampton. Well done.
Well done, Blue Noses.
There you go. So they get the 2-1 win at St. Mary's as Southampton's miserable season continues. Tottenham and Sheffield had a very entertaining 1-1 draw for, again, all the wrong reasons. Sheffield thinking they had equalized Heung-min Son's goal on the hour mark, but VAR... At this point, you just have to say... We're just going to let VAR do its thing the rest of the season, because at some point every team is going to benefit and get massively screwed by VAR. So, hey.
Well, you say that.
Yeah, except City.
There is a rumor floating around.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently they're having like a big Premier League meeting this week.
Good.
It's either this week or the beginning of next week.
Probably needs to be done.
And apparently... the guy who's like the head of officials or whatever,
mm-hmm.
they're going to do a entire like thing about VAR, about how it's been to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And different suggestions will be taken about improving it. And apparently one of the suggestions that will be suggested is to suspend it for the rest of the season until they can fine tune it.
Oh, that's... So here, I'm of two minds of that.
Now, I don't believe that's going to be like a very likely outcome,
right?
But apparently it is going to be submitted for that.
So on the one hand, VAR has been introduced poorly into the Premier League, to say the least, and taking it off to get it right and work on it. And hey, maybe even like pseudo using it, like still using it, but just never actually going to it, so that they can at least see like, okay, well, with this... How would this call have been changed if it was VAR, and fine-tuning the equipment without actually using it? That's maybe the good side of it. The bad side is, if you're a team that's already gotten screwed by this, and then...
Multiple times.
Yeah, and then like a third of the way through the season, they just say, all right, now we're not going to use it anymore. Like, what do you say? Like, and again, Tottenham have been on both sides of this year. They got benefited from it a little bit when the Sheffield United thought they had equalized in this match. A couple weeks ago, though, against Leicester, Son got screwed on an offside call that I still can't understand how it was called offsides. So at this point, it's like it would be very hard for me to say a rule you've played with for a quarter to a third of the season just now gets erased. And I know it's been bad, but that feels worse somehow, to just scrap it and play with a different set of the rules the rest of the season, which is essentially what you're doing. So,
yeah, I mean, I can't see them actually doing that, but
yeah,
it is just interesting that it's been thrown out there. So.
Bad times all around. Burnley get a big win over West Ham, 3-0. And as we know, Wes texted me earlier today, West Ham's road is not getting easier from here. So Roberto Martinez's men. No. Christ.
Who are you saying? I missed
West Ham's coach. I'm saying Roberto Martinez.
Pellegrini.
It's not Pellegrini. That's it. Thank you. I don't know why I had Spanish Bob.
This is not Belgium.
That's true. They are on international break after all. But they are going to need to turn around very quickly there. Let's go to, because we'll save that. That can be one of the two matches we talk about. Manchester United, 3-1 win over Brighton, aided by a bit of an own goal. Hey, United, they got a win over Brighton, so good for them. Wolves, another win. They're just starting to get a little bit back. They're starting to get back in there. 2-1 win over Aston Villa. Villa's goal coming very late on, but another impressive win for Wolves as they're starting to climb right back up the table and are back into the top half as they're trying to prove that the poison chalice may be not so poison after all. So for our two matches, we'll kind of go a little more in depth into. For this first one, it's going to be the Saturday primetime event. It was Leicester versus Arsenal. I believe at the time it was 3 versus 5 in the Premier League table, as Leicester looking to keep this another dream season alive for them. And they do so with 2 late goals against Arsenal, who have been mired in so much internal conflict, especially with Unai Emery's embattled regime maybe coming to a close a little bit in the next few weeks. Arsenal have not won now in 5 games as they fall to Leicester 2-0. Goals from Jamie Vardy and James Maddison contributing to this one. And Wes, I mean, this is one where I don't even think you can call this an upset, though. This is Leicester at home, acting like a top 4 club in the league this year and beating a team that, quite frankly, they should actually beat right now.
I mean, the whole thing of this is, I mean, I'll just ask you, when you turned it on and saw the score, were you the least bit surprised that Arsenal lost?
Not at all.
I mean, I would have been much more surprised if Arsenal had gone and beaten Leicester.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a complete dumpster fire right now at Arsenal. They are longing for the stability that Arsene Wenger brought. I almost got that out without laughing. I tried hard. I tried really hard. I mean, the defense is horrendous. You spent £72 million on Nicola Pepe and not on your defense. That didn't make a lot of sense. It's not really paying off at all here in the regular season. I mean, it'd be one thing if Pepe was plumping in goals and setting up goals, but he's not. He's not. So, therefore, he's not helping you overcome that horrendous defense. Players don't seem like they want to play for him. I've already had multiple of those player-only meetings that you get when things are going to shit. But it's Arsenal. And, I mean, they literally waited 5 years too late to fire Wenger. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, is Arsenal going to be ruthless and do what they need to do? Or are they going to be Arsenal, which is cautious and, see it through? I mean, I think for him to be back next year, he needs to make the Champions League. But, I mean, that's your big goal. But how long do you let it go without doing something? They're very fortunate that Manchester United and Tottenham have really played below expectations this year.
Well, you say that, but you look at the table right now, they're 8 points behind City in 4th.
Yeah, but I'm saying it would be even worse Tottenham. If Tottenham were 8 points above them and United were 9 points above them, it would be a lot worse on them then. Sure. So as I said, I feel he's kind of benefiting from the fact that, it's bad, but we're better than Tottenham. Mm-hmm. And, United's right there. We can catch United, so he's kind of getting a little bit of a break because some of the other big boys have been poor this season.
I think that's a good point. As strictly from a point standpoint, Arsenal of I guess we call the 3 of the big 6 who have had poor seasons up to this point, being Tottenham, United, and Arsenal. Arsenal do have the most points. They're only 3 clear of Tottenham, and they're only 1 clear right now of United. So that whole factoid could change very quickly with the way this table is. And I don't think Leicester, I don't think they're a title contender, even though they're sitting in joint second place right now. But I think they're a very good club, and I think they're much better than Arsenal, as you said. That's why you turn on the TV and you say, 2-0, makes sense. Chelsea have been getting by with you so far, and if that keeps progressing, I don't see Arsenal catching them. and even City in what is looking to be a somewhat air quotes down year for them in the Premier League after coming off 198 points the last 2 years. Arsenal's not better than them. I don't see them making up 8 points on them. So how does Arsenal make the Champions League? They can't. The only way Arsenal's making the Champions League is if they win Europa. And even I don't know if they're good enough to do. So
not with some of the other teams that are in Europa and are going to end up in Europa, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's very tough. And Leicester is one thing. Right now, they're level on points, but behind in goal differential against Sheffield United. And Wolves are only 1 point behind them. Bournemouth are 1 point behind them. If multiple of those non-Big Six clubs finish above Arsenal, that's disaster in my mind. Again, you can say the same thing for United because it could very easily happen for United as well. But and that was going to get to my last question before we move on to the final match, Wes, and it kind of pertains to this. I said those big three who have underperformed this year out of Arsenal, United, and Tottenham. Who of those three, who do you see that could actually make a back, I guess, 2/3 of the season, however much it is now, surge, and maybe actually try to push maybe in the top four? So many points to make up. But of those three teams, which would you actually say could make a push?
I'm not saying this because it's you, but talent-wise, it seems like it would be Tottenham.
Okay, that's fine.
But Tottenham, I really think right now, I think Tottenham are teetering on the brink of this season becoming a complete disaster.
Oh yeah, it's a GG go next. It's a GG go next for a lot of teams this year.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. It just means this game is over. Let's surrender. Go to the next one. This season's over. Go to the next one.
But for Tottenham, here's the thing with Tottenham suddenly looked like a team that has just hit their expiration date as a team. Mm-hmm. That's not to say the players are bad. Mm-hmm. That's not to say the manager's bad. Mm-hmm. It just seems like right now, as great as Mauricio Pochettino has been for Tottenham, Mauricio Pochettino needs a change of scenery. I think a lot of those players need a change of scenery. Obviously, Christian Eriksen wants out. I think they really need to refresh at the back. Mm-hmm. Danny Rose needs to go far, far away. Some of those midfielders could probably stand to go somewhere else. And once again, it's nothing saying that Pochettino is not an elite manager, because he is. He's an elite level manager. But, there just does come a time, especially in this modern age, where sooner or later the message falls on deaf ears. Mm-hmm. We've seen it with ultra elite managers. We've seen it with Mourinho. We've seen it with, think about Klopp's last year at Dortmund.
That's literally the example, and I was going to say, I know I'm not the first person to come up with it, but this is eerily similar to how Klopp's reign ended at Dortmund, and they're very similar in terms of maybe not on the pitch energy, but I think in terms of how they approach the game and approach their teams, I think they're very, very similar.
Right. It's a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of up tempo. And once again, you look at it wasn't that he had bad players, that he suddenly forgot how to manage. Mm-hmm. It was just that team had hit its shelf life. Mm-hmm. And so at the end of the day, eventually, no matter how good of individual talent you have, eventually you just have to refresh. And it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of Spurs fans because they don't want to hear it. But if you look at it logically, I don't know. I don't know where there's any desire for Pochettino to come back another year. Everybody always talked about him. He always said, I want to stadium, and I wanted to, okay, well, he's done that now. I just think with this group, with where they are physically, talent-wise, I think he's taken them as far as he can. And that's a Champions League final. Mm-hmm. And one or two runner-ups in the Premier League?
One runner-up, 2 thirds, I think.
Yeah. And it seemed like to win this group missed their opportunity the year that Leicester won it. Mm-hmm. They kind of missed their opportunity that year. Last year, they made the improbable run to the Champions League. I think Pochettino has gotten all he can out of this. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be really interesting to see going forward, with January now about 6 weeks away. And guess what? We're almost to a new transfer window.
Yay!
There's talk that, at this point, I don't see what use you have in keeping Christian Eriksen.
Yeah.
Sell him, get what you can. Alderweireld, sell him, get what you can. These guys who are, especially guys with the expiring contracts at this point, sell them, get what you can, man. If you were in a title race, it'd be one thing. Sell them and get what you can, and see what reinforcements you can bring in, or start to line up. But also, I think behind the scenes, Tottenham need to start looking for that next manager. Mm-hmm. And if they're already doing that, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because if you are going to get some money in January and spend some money, you want it to be the next guy starting to make those decisions, and not Pochettino, who's going to be months.
Right.
So Tottenham, I just believe Tottenham are in a state of flux right now. So, we'll just
still somehow less of a dumpster fire than Arsenal.
Yeah, less of a dumpster fire than Arsenal, and to an extent, less of a dumpster fire than United. So
yeah.
Yay! It could be worse. It could be United.
It's true. We could be Everton.
Oh God, nothing's as dumpster fiery as that.
All right, enough talk about teams that don't matter. Let's talk about teams.
Talk about mid-table fodder.
Exactly. Let's talk about the big match of the weekend, which did have its share of goals, celebrations, scrappiness, almost chippiness, some chippiness, and
there was some chippiness that spilled over into the England game.
Yeah, crazy. And even a small amount of controversy, as we always love to have. Liverpool 3, Manchester City 1. Liverpool get the big win they needed to fully open up the gap at the top of the table over their big rivals from last year, and a rivalry that has continued to develop over the last couple of years, starting with the Champions League elimination from 2 years ago. Fabinho with an early goal in the 6th minute that may or may not should have actually happened, depending on what side of the stands you were on. But Fabinho does get an early goal. Salah, just minutes later, puts in the second, and it looked like, for all the world, that might just be enough. Liverpool got their insurance goal as just 6 minutes after the halftime restart through Sadio Mane. Bernardo Silva did get a goal in the 78th minute to pull City back 1 and give just a little bit of hope, because if there was any team that could pull a 3-goal comeback, it's probably only City at this point. But Silva did get 1. It was the only one for City, as Liverpool do get a gigantic victory at Anfield and open up an 8-point lead over second place, 9-point lead over City, with, I guess we can start saying, as I do my quick math in my head, 26 matches left to play. So, God, that's not gonna get old every week, is it? So, Wes, this was the big one, and really, outside of whether we can argue to the cows come home about the initial Fabinho goal and what happened with Trent Alexander's arm, and whether it would actually the ball hit off his arm at that side of the field or side of the pitch because it bounced off someone else's arm. A lot of things to go over there, but at the end of the day, regardless how you feel about that, the better team takes home 3 points.
That's a big thing. I mean, whatever you want to say, Liverpool kicked their ass. City came out very fired up early. They were trying to get on top of Liverpool. And then Liverpool just hit them with an absolute lightning strike on that counterattack. And Fabinho, for whatever you want to say about how that attack started, Fabinho hits an absolute missile from outside the box. Nobody's stopping that ball. Nestles in the top corner. Oh my God, 6-7 minutes in, we're up 1-0. Then we get another on a counter. Perfect header from Mo Salah on some of the absolute best fullback play you'll ever see, where Trent from the right completely reverses field up to Robbo. Andy Roberts curls across from the left side that just goes a little further out than the outstretched leg to Fernandinho can get to. Puts it right on Salah's head, and into the back of the net it goes. And I mean, at that point, 2-0, and Liverpool had like barely broken a sweat. And City huffed and City puffed, but City did not have the quality in that match to get anything going. Mm-hmm. They had some shots. Alisson came up with a few good saves, but they had shots where they didn't even test Alisson. Mm-hmm. Sergio Aguero's now played 11 matches at Anfield in his career, no goals. Mm-hmm. And that includes when he played for Atletico. Anfield is just a complete house of horrors for Aguero. Guess who else is for two other very important people? It's a house of horrors. One of them is Raheem Sterling. The other one's Pep Guardiola. Yeah. Pep Guardiola, as a manager, has never won at Anfield, and that includes his Barcelona days. Barcelona, Munich, City has never won at Anfield.
I will say this: I think Sterling might have been the best City player that day. Like, he actually played for as much shit as he's been given. And we've given him shit for disappearing at Anfield in a City kit. He was good. I think he was almost by far and away the best player for City on the day. He just never could.
He was, but I mean, at the same time, that just kind of shows you how out of the match a lot of those City guys were. I mean, De Bruyne looked terrible. De Bruyne was terrible. But I think De Bruyne was forced into being terrible.
Yes, there's a very good article on The Athletic about how Liverpool... We keep talking about The Athletic. It's great, guys. Please, buy a subscription. How they cut off a lot of his deep runs into the box, and we're really tracking him well. And that's, of course, very important when you're talking about a guy like Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah. In midfield, the Brexit midfield that everyone just rolls their eyes about. Oh, God, he's starting Jordan Henderson and Genie. Oh, dear. Why aren't you playing Alex, the Ox? Why aren't you playing him? He's scoring goals. Because unless anyone has lived under a rock when watching Liverpool's play under Klopp, how often do we ask midfielders to score goals?
Not often.
Don't get me wrong. It is a very nice weapon to have in Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. But when it comes down to a match where you know you're going to be ceding most of the possession, which, I mean, no matter what City is, City's going to keep the ball. We know that. Mm-hmm. When you're playing on this counterattack and you've got to have that hard-nosed defense, why are you playing anyone other than Jordan Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum in front of Fabinho? Mm-hmm. And they were fantastic. Henderson came off around the 60-minute mark he's been suffering from an illness all week. He's been sick. So that was one reason he came off. But before he came off, he assisted the third goal to Sadio Mane on a cross that would make Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, blush with shame. It was that good. Mm-hmm. So much quality on the day for Liverpool. Henderson and Wijnaldum and Fabinho absolutely bossed the midfield. I'll tell you, sometimes it's just fun to watch Fabinho. I mean, this dude, he somehow figures out how to be everywhere. And I think he has the longest arms and legs in the world. He figures out a way to be everywhere all the time. And I mean, they were fantastic on the day. 7 Liverpool players got their nomination awards for the Ballon d'Or. Somehow Andy Robertson wasn't one of them. Fabinho should get one next year. But right now, I mean, Liverpool, and Pep said it after the match. I don't know if Pep actually believes it or Pep's just paying the lip service. But he said you just saw the best team in Europe. And I mean, right now, I think it's very hard to argue that.
Yeah.
I mean,
we talked about La Liga last week, and that's...
Yeah, I mean, especially when you start looking around the rest of the leagues. I mean, no one in La Liga looks that good. Mm-hmm. Juventus are sitting on top of Serie A. They don't look that good. Mm-hmm. They've got issues there. You look at Bayern, and Bayern's getting all the press because, Lewandowski. Well, Lewandowski, if he plays, he scores. We know that. Yes. But, I mean, you're looking at a Munich team who's not in first place in their league and just fired their manager. Yep. So, I mean, out of the super elites in Europe, this was kind of the head-to-head matchup, and Liverpool handily took care of City. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean Liverpool's going to win the league or win the Champions League. But I think right now you can pretty confidently say it's the best team in Europe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll see what happens in May. But, yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal effort from Liverpool and a well-deserved 3 points. Refereeing, VARing decisions be damned. Considering the fact that, like, everybody is, like, it seems they're completely 50-50 on that penalty. Mm-hmm. Or on the handball for the first handball. Everybody's so 50-50 on it. I mean, what do you do at this point?
I mean, there's almost no question it's a handball. I think the only question becomes, why was it a handball? And that's because a similar thing I think sort of happened last week with Dele Alli, where it looked like on a corner into the box, he was jumping up and his arm kind of went up, and the ball looked like it was deflected off his arm. Wasn't called because the reason his arm was going up is because in his jump he got like elbowed in his back and fouled. So they were like, well, okay, I guess that's not really a handball then. So I think that's going to be a little bit of the discussion there is why. And obviously I think it was Silva's arm that it initially came off of was the reason they did not call it. So gotta love VAR. Gotta love VAR.
As far as did I say saying that Liverpool are living rent free in City's head right now?
Yes,
something along those lines. You could tell Liverpool made a concerted effort to play physical with City, mm-hmm. especially Raheem Sterling. Mm-hmm. And Sterling, by the end of that match, Raheem was absolutely fuming. He had a couple of run-ins with Trent. I do believe, even take away the goals, my absolute favorite part of the match was when Trent body checked him into the board. And he was so pissed about that. And then late on, Joe Gomez came in. Now here's, of course, the incident that's still making news. Joe Gomez came in. They had a moment where Sterling decided to get in his face. Now, let's put it this way. Raheem Sterling's about, I'm guessing, 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah.
And Joe Gomez is about 6'3", 6'4".
He's about a head taller.
So, I mean, it's kind of like me and, someone actually even smaller than you, jumping up. And it's like Joe Gomez literally put his hands under his arm, like, stand back, little boy.
And thank God that's all that happened from that.
Yeah, thank God nothing else happened, right?
Thank God.
Thank God, sure. I will say this, though. When that moment happened, the London Bridge exploded.
Shocking.
I mean, well, when you look at that point, the pressure's off. The job's basically done. It's like, oh, God, now we can wind up Raheem Sterling. This is, as you like to say, this is just delicious. And it got even tastier when they went to England duty, which I'm guessing we're going to touch on in News and Notes.
Well, actually, I didn't put it in there. I completely must have forgot to. We can talk about it right now, because we're about to. I was going to mention it once again. There is a European break coming up here, international break, where Euro qualifying will be happening. And as the three Lions marched into camp to get all the camaraderie and to close out qualifying with some big wins,
the littlest lion tried to get in the face of one of the biggest lions and got beat.
I believe, as they like to say, Raheem Sterling acted a fool. I believe is the technical term for what he did. Food was thrown at breakfast, as I believe he said to Joe Gomez, "Oh, you think you're the big man now?" To which Mr. Gomez thought he was joking and was like, and Sterling was
an uncomfortable laugh.
And Mr. Sterling was not joking, and I believe proceeded to get him in a headlock. I believe is the report I read.
Apparently, yes. For everything I hear, Joe Gomez, what do I do here? I mean, do I beat his little ass or do I not beat his little ass? And Joe Gomez, luckily the 21-year-old had been like the grown-up in the situation.
Yes, thank God.
And it was no doubt about it who started it, because Raheem Sterling has received a quite harsh reprimand.
Yes, he was reprimanded. He was initially sent home. And people, including, I believe, Jordan Henderson, actually talked head coach Gareth Southgate into bringing him back.
Apparently Joe Gomez was like, yeah, just, it's fine. Forget it. I don't care.
Yeah, he was like, as long as he apologizes, whatever, it's fine. And so Raheem did. He was called back. He apologized profusely, apparently. The word groveling was used by one source. But yeah, he's back. He will still be suspended for their first match against Montenegro, but he will be available to play in their second one. So all's well that ends well.
Except with the English media, who never let anything go.
What?
Man, you think this is going to come up again sometime?
No, not at all. Especially not with Raheem Sterling.
Or the English media. Or the English media's apparent loathing of Raheem Sterling.
They eat their own. They eat their own. The English press, they eat their own. Well, as far as the schedule for the Premier League, we can go ahead and let you know that as far as the big matches to come when we next return on Saturday, November 23rd, there is a North London derby. There is a London derby as West Ham hosts Tottenham to start that week. Liverpool will be hitting the road and heading to Crystal Palace to meet Woy. And hey, big match at 12:30 on that Saturday. Manchester City versus Chelsea. That's at the Etihad. That is a big match there. And then on Sunday, hey, this is actually a really big one. 11:30, Sheffield United looks to keep the good times going against Manchester United. So we'll see. We'll see again. I keep feeling like, as with a lot of these clubs, you have to keep proving yourself week in, week out.
Oh yeah.
Sheffield no different. But this is one of those, if you look up in the 85th minute and you see Sheffield United's up 1-0, not going to be surprised. Not going to be surprised at all. But that is your schedule for 2 weeks from now. As we look at the table real quick before we head on to news and notes, Liverpool, as mentioned, is at the top with 34. Leicester and Chelsea are at 26, and City are at 25. Sheffield and Arsenal occupying the Europa zones, at 17 points apiece. At the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone, Aston Villa, currently on the outside where they want to be at 11 points. Watford and Southampton are both at 8, and plucky Norwich, are at 7. So a lot of ground already to make up for some of these clubs. All right. As we always like to do here in News and Notes, we like to start with pimping some stories. I'm going to pimp out 2 stories real quick. Don't know if Wes would like to add one after this. Real good story. I believe this one came out today. England's no-cap wonders, talking about England players that suit up for the club but never actually got into a match to get capped. It's a great article from Daniel Taylor. One of the best parts is from someone who actually did get capped. That was Jamie Vardy, who barely made a contract condition that paid him money if he was able to get onto an England match before the 75-minute mark. He got on at the 74-minute and 3-second mark. His agent took a picture of the TV screen with the clock on to send to Leicester to prove it to them. And then they tried to argue, well, it was at 74:03. That's technically the 75th minute, so maybe we're not going to pay you the bonus. They ended up paying the bonus. Great article, all told, though. Just a one for a lot of Mickey Hazard stories in there. Go check it out. And then there's an article also about the life of a football referee. If you're into that sort of thing. Anything you want to pimp out from The Athletic this week, Wes?
Hold on, I'm trying to pull my Athletic up. I actually have quite a few things saved to get to. I will give you guys this. If you're into college football, their college football coverage is just outstanding.
Of course it is.
There's a good article on City called "How City Ended Up with a Defense Not Fit for Champions." That just talks about some of it's almost like that back line just got neglected somehow.
A little bit.
There's a really good article on Liverpool. This was the day the shackles came off.
Mm-hmm.
It says, to a man, Liverpool stepped up, puffed out their chest, and delivered. It's James Pearce. James Pearce is the man when it comes to talking about Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
We got a good story on Wolves in Europa out there. Daniel Taylor did a story. They build a house to help lure Pep, but what will City do when he hands back the keys?
That's a great article.
That is a very good article. There are big-time English journalists who are going on record and saying, Pep Guardiola will not be back next year.
Yeah.
This is it. This is his last run. And, I mean, would it shock you literally at all?
No, not at all.
I mean, and, I say this, and y'all know I don't like Pep, but it's gotten hard for Pep.
Mm-hmm.
And Pep don't do rebuilding projects.
No.
Pep comes to, take over and go win. Pep is the manager who comes in to win things.
Mm-hmm.
Pep is not the manager who's going to, he's not going to a team in 9th place that has resources.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Pep's, you look where he's gone, Barcelona. Okay. Inherited the greatest team in the world. Bayern Munich inherited the European champions. Manchester City inherited the English champions.
Mm-hmm.
Pep don't do rebuilds.
No, not at all.
And City are at a point where they need some building. And you can see Pep is cracking right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, jokingly, I keep saying it, Liverpool are living rent-free in Pep's head right now. Pep Guardiola is just beside himself that Liverpool have beaten him the way they have. And if he doesn't end up winning the league this year or the Champions League this year, and it's seen as a failure to a season, I think Pep's going to walk away.
I agree.
And when he does, this team has been built to his specification. There's not really anybody else who manages like him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's the next move for Manchester City? If Pep Guardiola leaves, who do you go get? You've now had the, quote, greatest manager in the world, and you couldn't get it done. And by get it done, obviously he was brought in to win Europe.
Oh, of course.
I mean, winning the Premier, they were already winning the Premier League. They won the Premier League under Mancini and Pellegrini. Guardiola was brought in to win Europe. And right now, it does not look like 3 years in, they're not any closer to winning Europe than they were when he came in.
Right.
So I do believe it. I think going to be on his way out after this year as well, and City are going to have to they're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, it could be a very tough rebuild. We've seen other clubs go through this. We talked about 3 clubs who are kind of in the middle of that right now, with what do they do next, and City could actually be joining that list in the next year or two. So again, we love the Athletic. It's good stuff, boys.
Oh yeah.
Now another story. This one coming from Bleacher Report, that there have been everything's going so great for Liverpool, and then there's maybe some injury news about Mohamed Salah and Andy Robertson that might not have them ready for Crystal Palace coming up in a couple weeks' time. So Wes, is this the downfall? Is this where it all goes wrong? No.
I think Liverpool are equipped to survive for a few games if necessary at those spots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a ready-made option for Robertson. You slide the ageless wonder James Milner back there. He plays left back. He's not Robertson, but he doesn't have to be Andy Robertson.
It's James Milner.
It's Millie time. Up front, Klopp has a few options. He could go 4-2-3-1, which he probably won't. He could stick 4-3-3, and we know exactly what happens. Bring in a Origi, plays on the left, and Mane switches to the right, and you continue on as if nothing ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
So that's most likely what's going to happen. Robertson, they say to Robertson when they're not really concerned about Robertson, he might miss a match, but they're not overly concerned with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is some concern with Salah.
Because of his ankle that's been kind of bugging him.
Yeah, of course, that injury came from that upstanding citizen Chowdhury in the Leicester match and has not gotten better since. So, we'll have to see the repercussions of that damn tackle. It still had me fuming when I think about it. So.
Damn.
But, yeah, we'll see. As of now, Liverpool are okay to absorb a few injuries, as long as they're not a bunch of long-term injuries.
Nice. Well, we will see how that
Nice.
goes, of course. Hey, and as we're sticking with the theme of Liverpool versus City, things also not great for City. As Bernardo Silva, in the end of this long, strange journey we've been on, will be receiving a one-match ban for his racist tweet at teammate Benjamin Mendy. We've been talking about this for a while. He made a tweet, and then he gave one of those sort of fake apologies after he compared a young picture of Benjamin Mendy to a Portuguese, weird cartoon thing, and it's not very good. Spanish, not Portuguese.
Yeah, I don't know what he did.
My apologies. So basically, Silva posted a photo of Mendy as a child alongside a picture of the mascot for Spanish confectionery brand Conguitos, which is of a very dark-skinned person with big red lips, like you would see in very, very poor taste movies from yore. And everybody said, "Oh, they're ex-teammates. It doesn't matter. He knows it's just joking." I'm like, you don't put that on your personal Twitter for literally everyone to see. You don't do that. And then when you do it and people call you out on it, you apologize for it. You actually apologize for it. So good to see that he's actually getting a one-match ban for this. So we'll see if City can muster any Silvas for their next match. Wes, you talked about it, though. We're so close to another transfer window. And there's so many rumors. This article from Bleacher Report's Dean Jones, talking about Ziyech maybe coming to Spurs. Still talking about Declan Rice coming for $1 bajillion to United, which I don't understand. Have there been any rumors that you're particularly excited about that could be happening in the January transfer window?
I mean, of course, the one that completely excites me is Timo.
Yeah.
That one's been mooted around for a long time. Apparently, if we do sign Timo Werner in in January, it's going to be with a mandatory loan back to Leipzig for the rest of the season. So it'll be more like when Naby Keita came in from Leipzig, where we bought him and then immediately loaned him back for the remainder of the season. Obviously, on the Liverpool end, that's the big one because, God, we didn't sign anybody in the summer. Unless something catastrophically happens, I don't see us really signing anyone to walk into the first team in January. You never know when we might pop from somewhere and, might do something like that. But, God, as far as the other ones, Declan Rice to United would be a huge fund for him. Why? Because they're doubling down on this young English talent deal.
And paying massively for it.
Yeah, God, I can't imagine that kind of money for a guy. Declan Rice is good.
Yeah.
I haven't been that impressed with Declan Rice ever, but it's what it is. It's United. They like paying for the English talent. Look how good Harry Maguire's turned out.
When you're right, you're right.
Yeah. And Hakeem Ziyech, that one's interesting to me because, once again, like we talked about earlier, went into some depth about Spurs. Is that a signing for the next manager? Because you're going to have to spend a good chunk of money on him. If you're trying to get him in January, he's coming from obviously a really good club who's got a good chance to get out of the Champions League. I can't see why they sell him in January if they're still in the Champions League.
Right.
So, even it might be something like we said about the first one. It might be for Spurs maybe get his signature, but then, we'll wait till June or July for him to officially become a member of the team.
Right.
But I talked earlier about Spurs. They got to start. They got to start refreshing because I've just got a feeling they're going to be moving some guys out in the January window. So if you can bring in a guy like Ziyech, why would you? That'd be crazy not to.
Oh, absolutely. And Ajax players have been pretty good at Spurs in the past. So
it's worked. It's been a nice little conveyor belt for them.
Yes, it's like the Southampton of the Dutchland. Sorry, Saints. Sorry. One of our last news.
We benefited well from those guys.
It's true. It's very true. One of our last news and notes we'll do today was a very odd story when it came out a couple days ago. First of all, I didn't really realize that the rights to the Champions League were already back up for bidding after Bleacher Report and Turner took it over a couple years ago. But hey, they were, and apparently they were won by CBS Sports. So hello, friends. Welcome to
a tradition
Wembley.
like none other.
It's actually a tradition unlike any other.
It's a European night at Enfield.
There you go. So obviously Bleacher Report has been, kind of terrible. In terms of their coverage and their app and everything like that.
Just Turner in general has been garbage.
It's not good. Steve Nash. But this is just so out of left field. And in a lot of ways, CBS is going to have to do kind of what Turner had to do. And that is build a soccer presence from the ground up. Because, Turner didn't have one when they started. CBS certainly doesn't really have one either. No. Unlike NBC or ESPN or even, to an extent, Fox. Although Fox looks like they're starting to get out of the game a little bit. But I tell you what, this is I don't know how to feel about this. It's gonna come down to who do they hire and how is it presented? And are they going to try to do like a Fox where they're going to try to more Americanize it? Are they going to try to do an NBC Sports where it's going to be very British, very, very on that level? Is it going to be Bleacher Report where it's just kind of crap? I mean, do you have any thoughts on this, Wes?
Well, and I'll say this is CBS Sports over the years, for the simple fact that they used to have a lot of East Carolina games on CBS Sports. I've never been overly impressed with the product that CBS Sports has put out. It's always felt like very second rate. Now that said, I mean, if you're putting all this money, and it's a massive amount of money they're putting, I mean, you obviously are going to. I'll say obviously, you've got to invest in the infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, and this isn't a popular statement amongst you and I, considering our thoughts on ESPN. God, I would have no problem with the Champions League going back to ESPN.
Zero problem.
God, I mean, you'd have ESPN, ESPN2, you can pull them on ESPN News. 360 has turned into, after a few years of hit and miss with ESPN 60 or ESPN Plus or whatever they're calling it now. I mean, that's a good platform now. I mean, it's so much more well put together than Bleacher Report's is, or anyone else's I've really seen. God, ESPN. But I mean, ESPN, they've done really well with their Major League Soccer coverage over the years.
Sure.
They get all the Carabao Cup matches on ESPN Plus, and I hate to say, I mean, they do a good job on those.
Yeah, they do a really good job.
CBS Sports, it's like you said, it just makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, all we can do is say, well, I mean, obviously we'll give you a chance.
Yeah.
Just please don't screw us for 4 years.
Yeah. Don't hire Steve Nash.
Or 5 years. Yeah, don't hire Steve Nash. It's nothing against Steve Nash. I mean, the dude was a pro basketball player.
Yeah. It's just so very weird.
It's like I don't need Shaq on, MSNBC Crossfire.
Yes.
I mean, I love Shaq talking basketball. I really want Shaq talking Democratic primaries.
No.
Because that's not really his area of expertise. Understand, Steve Nash is a fan of Tottenham Hotspur. Steve Nash played like some amateur soccer. That's great. That doesn't mean that you get to go and analyze it without being a journalist. So, we've been so unimpressed with Turner's presentation.
Yeah.
And the whole simple fact that, my God, you've got so many channels with Turner on everybody's plan that you could give us matches. But no, the extreme greed of Turner's really turned me off. I mean, basically you get one match and then, well, anything else, you better go back. Screw y'all, man. Just screw you all.
I like this one. I do like this line, and then we'll move on to our final news and note here. From the article about it on World Soccer Talk. Not the original article I got it from, but just as I was doing a quick search for maybe if anybody had some more information. I do like this. They were doing a Q&A on it, and one of the questions was, what does this mean for Turner Sports, TNT, and BR Live? And the article answers it. One of the lines is, meanwhile, BR Live has started the process of merging the streaming platform into the Bleacher Report app, which will take 2 years to complete. By the time that transition will be complete, BR Live will no longer have the rights to the Champions League.
Gotta love BR Live.
This is so poorly thought.
I was always someone who I really pushed and pimped for Bleacher Report. I always liked Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's been really bad.
I have to admit also, and again, because hey, this goes back to one of my favorite things to do now on this podcast, which is Pimp the Athletic. At this point, with the way I have notifications set up, I'm almost always getting notifications of stories from the Athletic before they appear on Bleacher Report. And even today, there was a story that I got from the Athletic, and about 3 hours later, I got a notification about it from Bleacher Report where they were citing the Athletic. Like, that's, to me, at this point, this was like almost a worst case scenario for Bleacher Report. Like, they're still going to have their diehard fans, and there's still going to be plenty of people using it. But the Athletic getting more and more of a foothold into European soccer, starting with England. Like, I think that's an avenue where they can start to cut off Bleacher Report and put in what, by and large, is better journalism and better articles. And at that point, if you're Bleacher Report, if you're losing the actual rights to the Champions League, what do you really have left? I know they still have articles and they have their funny video, cartoon, whatever bullshit. But, like, I don't know why at this point anyone, maybe in a couple years, would even go to Bleacher Report when they can instead go to The Athletic, other than Bleacher Report's free, The Athletic isn't. That's about the only way I can figure it out. So.
And, I mean, Bleacher Report, it's not bad just to find stuff. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, once you kind of figure out, like, websites, mm-hmm. I mean, Bleacher Report might link you once in a while. Bleacher Report does some decent original work. Mm-hmm. And then they'll to a good newspaper site or two. I mean, overall for me now, Bleacher Report, it's sending me to places I already go anyway.
Yeah.
I'm for Bleacher Report all the time. So I like the app. Mm-hmm. I like the app. I like getting the little updates and the notifications and everything. Bleacher Report's not really must-see, internet.
Womp womp. So now for our final story, and it is, we must bid a happy trails, I guess, to the man who came. Just gonna let that hang for a second. He saw and he conquered Los Angeles. Zlatan is heading back to Europe. He thought he was heading back to La Liga a few weeks ago anyway, but now he's officially leaving the LA Galaxy. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is heading back home to Europe as he and the Galaxy have agreed to part ways after this season. Zlatan scored 52 goals and notched 17 assists in 53 starts for the Galaxy.
He's good.
Shockingly, breaking news here on the Foreign Affair podcast, everyone. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is good. So, do you...
And also, breaking news, we no longer give...
Yeah. Sorry, Waza. Well, you're leaving, I guess, anyway, too, aren't you?
He's leaving, too. So, yeah. Basically, like, all this big European star power is all at the same time. So, good luck carrying the lead, Carlos.
Don't worry, David Beckham's team in Florida will be great. Don't you worry.
Who are they supposed to get? Oh, maybe they're going to get like.
Oh God,
he's been great this year.
Yeah, this is bad. But Zlatan, you were wonderful while you were here in America. We still loved when you were here in America, even when you played for PSG and you actually talked to us. So thank you. Thank you.
Became our best friend and everything.
You did. Thank you, Zlatan, for everything.
Thank you for everything, Zlatan. We will never, even when you went. Which was difficult for me. But, yeah, man, we love you. You're our favorite. You're our hero.
We love him so very much. So
you have to say to your great American fans, get that to my face.
It's not what he said. He was very nice to us.
Exactly. That's what he could have easily said.
Yes. He was a gentleman and a scholar to us.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you, sir, because I completely overreacted.
Yes. Zlatan.
He's like, whoa, okay, yes. What?
Oh, man, it was great. It was one of the best moments in all new sports show history. All right. That is going to do it.
My lives.
That's true. That's actually true. Sorry, Jack. Let's head to the watch for Wes. What you watching in the week that was or the week that will be?
OMG, I watched so much stuff.
Oh, boy.
So, as you all know, I finished The Breaking Bad a few weeks ago.
Yes, you did.
Still haven't watched El Camino yet, but I'll get to that soon.
Okay.
Sorry, I was eating a little piece of sausage there.
That's fine.
Actually have taken one of your recommendations and very early on have started on The Good Place.
Hey, welcome to The Good Place. Hey. Everything is fine.
Everything is fine. Yes, everything is fine. I was sitting there watching it and I was like, it's become such a great show. Okay, she did all these things in life, and she's getting her great reward. And it's like, yeah, I did none of that stuff. It's like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
awesome. So, yeah, that's good. I think I've watched like the. So, I'm enjoying that.
It's quite good.
I have picked back up on The Sopranos.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, another one of those. Hey guys, have you ever heard this? Sopranos?
I don't know. I didn't even know it ended. I heard nothing about it.
Well, apparently it just they went to commercial and forgot it. What else I saw? Oh, I finally got a chance. 1984. Through 3 episodes of that. That's Jesus God. That's a mindfuck as usual.
Oh, sorry. Well, American Horror Story. Gotcha.
Yeah. It's actually been pretty. It's funny. It's pretty good. I will give it this one thing about American Horror Story. When they do a period piece, man, they go all in. They're so good with like their costumes and things like that, and they have like completely nailed the early to mid 1980s. I mean, the haircuts, everything. It's fantastic. Just had a little twist to the end of the last one I saw. So looking forward to continuing that journey. I've been to the movies this week. Tell you, I saw a lot. Went and saw Midway.
Oh, yes.
And if you enjoy a good war movie, World War II, airplanes, strategery, as our great President Bush once called it. Midway, I mean, it's great, man. It was really, really good. Patrick Wilson, Ed Skrein. Skrein, however you say his name. One. Well, I was, of course, I think I was the only person to think 50 who went and saw it the other day. Oh. And, of course, as soon as he comes on the screen, it's Francis! Francis! Yes, that's right, folks. It is Francis, a.k.a. Ajax, from Deadpool, who I thought was just like the most perfect human being ever, every villain forever. And he plays like the main protagonist hero of Midway, the Battle of Midway. He was naval pilot Dick Best. They held really good historically on this one. Of course, you had some Hollywood in it, but they did a really good job. Really good cast. Woody Harrelson's in it. Dennis Quaid's in it. One of the Jonas brothers is in it.
Oh boy,
I think it's Nick. Isn't Nick Jonas the one who like does the movies?
I think so.
Who actually, I'm gonna give him his props. He's really good. Everything I've ever seen him out about, oh, it's a Jonas brother. Oh, he's really good.
I feel like he's the one like genuinely good Jonas brother.
I believe he's the most talented of the Jonas brothers. But he did a great job in it. It's a really good cast, and it's a really good movie. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I totally get that. But for anyone with any interest in World War II or aviation, anything like that, it's historical dramas. It's really good, really good. And then today I went and saw Joker again and just got to relive my favorite. I think my favorite line and favorite moment of a movie this year. Him riding in the back of that police car, looking out, and someone said, "God, Gotham is burning."
Burning.
Oh, so
okay.
So good, man.
Henna.
The last 20 minutes of that movie are just Jesus. Just knock it off, man. The last 20 minutes, amazing.
It's so terrible that when you say Gotham is burning, the only thing I can think about is Terry Bogard from Final Fight saying,
You sent me that. It was one of those. All right, man, I'll believe you.
Because that's one of his catchphrases. That's one of his Terry Bogart's quotes when he does one of his punches in the game is burning, burning, and they very weird. Ah, it's lovely. Oh, it's so
I'm glad they didn't say it like that in Joker.
Yeah. Oh, Gotham is burning. Oh my god. Anyway, speaking of burning, I had some money burning a hole in my. Okay, I'm gonna the bit's dead.
Thank God.
Disney Plus came out this week.
Yes,
That started. So Tuesday night
so everyone on Facebook says.
Yeah. If you were able to get in, congratulations. It worked fine for me when I came home from work Tuesday, and I celebrated by watching Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And it was amazing. It was, it's so good. It's so good. I will say this. It's not the best Marvel movie. It's also, I don't think, the best solo Marvel movie. But I think it's the first best Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. Like, with all due respect to Iron Man 1 and the Avengers, The Winter Soldier is the first best Marvel movie that came out. Because it's so good. It has such a different, I think, tone from a lot of the movies they had been trying to do that are a little more comic booky, and that would set the pace for the rest of the movies to be able to do weird shit, like Guardians of the Galaxy having their super goofy space tone, and Doctor Strange being this trippy mindfuck, and Ant-Man being a heist movie, and stuff like that, and being able to do these sort of different genres within
Winter Soldier broke the mold of the quote superhero movie.
Yes, they were able to make what basically turned into what was a spy thriller that happened to have superheroes in it. Right. And it's great. It is a fantastic movie.
And it introduced us to my favorite of all the Marvels, Bucky Barnes. Well, it didn't totally introduce us to the Winter Soldier.
Yes. So we got to stan Sebastian. You see what I did there? In the first Captain America as well. Yeah. But yes, then he comes back with the slightly longer hair flowing in the wind, and then
Mark.
Of course, after I watched Winter Soldier, I decided to watch Civil War because that's also on Disney Plus. Thank you, Disney. I will consume the product now. God, those are good.
Civil War to me is the best of the Marvel movies.
It's really good. It's really fucking good.
Civil War's so good. There's now, I mean, obviously, to Infinity War and Endgame. I mean, they're kind of on a different level about those things. But when you just talk about there was so much put into Civil War that wasn't like a quote Avengers movie.
Yeah.
I mean, everything in Civil War spun everything that happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it is
everything spun off of Civil War.
So very good. I loved it.
So Civil War was the point guard that set up the that was setting everybody. It was the passing point guard that set everything up going forward.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. It's fantastic. It gets us our first look at Black Panther. It gets us our first look at Spider-Man. It's fantastic. Just wonderful. So that's what I did. And I'm sure I'll be watching more Marvel movies. The Mandalorian is out if you like Star Wars. I haven't watched it. I'm not probably.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that. I'm probably, and you and me were talking, just time constraints and everything that I'm in right now. I am probably going to wait until Falcon and Winter Soldier. I may wait till those are getting ready to drop before.
Disney. So yeah, when those series come out, it will be good to go. But again, hey, there's a 1 week free trial, and if you're someone who likes to subscribe to different things, again, there is, as I was telling Wes yesterday when we were texting about it. There is a deal they're running where you can get the Hulu with ads version and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus for $13, which is basically like paying for Hulu and Disney Plus and getting ESPN Plus for free. Which, hey, if you're somebody who's...
I already get the ESPN Plus. I don't get... Or I don't get Hulu, but I already get the ESPN Plus. I mean, hey, that might... You never know. We might see. Yeah. We'll have to see.
There you go. So again, great stuff coming out of Disney Plus. They also have all the Simpsons. So I even watched like...
Now, have you heard some of the controversy about this?
I heard that...
Apparently they're editing out like non-PC moments of The Simpsons.
I have not heard that. I heard that they stretched it so that there's some visual gags on the side of the screen because it's now like 16:9 instead of 4:3. There's some visual gags that don't make it. I don't know how true that is. I had not heard what you're talking about.
That's something that I had heard. Seen something about that. They've edited out parts, or not even so much edited, completely changed what actually was said in parts. If they were, quote, offensive jokes.
Interesting. I am going to... let's see. So,
Yep, there it is. Very first thing I put Simpsons Disney Plus. Simpsons fans mad at Disney Plus cuts off Simpsons jokes with widescreen episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thought. Like, it looks like
Michael Jackson Simpsons episode excluded.
To be fair, that's not a...
Well, there you go. But, I mean, that's the thing, you know. I mean, that is one of the absolute classics. Yeah. So, you know...
Thankfully, there's another 30 years of Simpsons episodes that you can go through anyway.
And probably another 30 still to come.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, it looks like the 4:3, though, is... Now, I didn't think they would do that much editing, because I do remember like a bit they used like a week ago to promote it was like them all dressing up, but then Bart dressing up as Mickey Mouse and ending up moving the camera. So I figured they'd still be able to get away with like most of their stuff. The Michael Jackson one, I'm not surprised, because that's an oof. It was good at the time, but now it's kind of an oof. Thankfully, Bleeding Gums Murphy never molested a child, so he stays on. Thanks, Bleeding Gums. So with that, are we gonna do a watch for? Do you want to? Or not? We just did watch for. Are we doing So Elite Raw or not?
He'd be a jerk. I haven't watched enough of anything this week.
That's fine.
So Raw.
That's fine. We marked out hard.
Very small snips, but that's it. I don't think it's enough to really put anything together.
All right, we marked out hard a couple weeks ago to Kenny Omega being Sans from Undertale, channeling the power of Sans from Undertale, as the announcer said. So we're still recovering from that. We're on cooldown. We're on a big ultimate cooldown here, just like Super Carry Doinby. But that is gonna do it for us here on the A Foreign Affair podcast for episode 288. Once again, big shout out to NGSC Sports as well as Alicia's Pills and Things for helping provide this podcast to you all. You can find them on the social media as well as us. We are on the Twitter at AFA Pod is our collective. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. And you can email us at allnewsportsshow@gmail.com. Thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. So you can catch all of our episodes those places. You can also find them on YouTube as well. We'll be back. I think we're still live next week, right? One more week live?
Yes. Yeah, we're still good next week.
Alrighty, so we'll be back.
Of course, with no Premier League,
we'll be able to wrap up Euro qualifying. We'll be able to wrap up Euro qualifying. So there'll be stuff to talk about. And who knows? Maybe Raheem Sterling will punch somebody. So we'll talk about that. Maybe Raheem will finally lose it. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about anything else that crops up. But please go ahead.
Shit, Garrett Cole didn't win the Cy Young.
No, Verlander did.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
Okay, DeGrom won again.
Hmm?
Yeah, there's a meme on here that said when you get robbed at the side.
Yep.
Oh shit! I didn't realize he didn't win it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like so wrapped up.
It was not. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. So congratulations, Mr. Verlander.
Yeah.
You got that in Kate Upton, but you didn't win the
I
World
was about to
Series.
say Cy Young and Kate. And so one for Kate to hold in each hand in front of. Never mind.
Anything else to add before we get out of here, Wes?
Oh, God, Kate Upton. Football playoffs.
Yes.
Like we were talking about a little bit in the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
High school playoffs are here. The Big East is all in one freaking top bracket, so they'll be done in a few weeks. Tarboro gets a bye week. Southwest got a high seed. And Nash Central made it.
Yeah, good job, Nash Central.
Yeah, enjoy. Enjoy. I think it's going to be over kind of quick.
Probably.
Yeah. I believe that's it for me this week.
All right. Well, then, with that, we will catch you guys next week on the A Foreign Affair podcast. There's plenty of Euro football to keep you tied over until then. And while you're watching it, as always, stay safe and enjoy the football.
And don't impeach us, folks. We try to do good by you.
Or do. It's either or. It's really up to you, America. It's
if we get a sweet parachute payment, I'll.
That's who was it that failed out? Oh, that guy from WeWork. Yeah. That's got to be nice. Hey, everybody, you're all getting laid off. We're laying off like a quarter of our workforce, but I'm getting a multi-billion-dollar payoff to leave the company that I ran into the ground. Hell yeah.
I wish I could mess my job up.
If only.
The problem is, if I screw up that bad at my job, I'm for killing somebody.
Yeah. Unlucky.
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.